Our story begins by introducing Jung-hwa, a quiet and dedicated art student seeking solace and focus. She is moving into a smaller apartment, hoping to dedicate herself entirely to her craft. But this fresh start is poisoned almost immediately. While hauling boxes and moving furniture, she accidentally knocks over a ceramic statue, shattering it. As she cleans up the debris, she finds a mysterious yellow paper nestled deep within. This paper instantly attracts her attention. Despite its simple nature, there is something deeply attractive about it, something that she feels compelled to keep. This small, seemingly insignificant paper is the single worst choice she could have made, for it is the moment she sends an open invitation to the ancient, vengeful entity attached to the cursed relic. Shortly after settling in, she hears a knock on her door. When she opens it, she meets her neighbor, who interrupts her to give her a warm welcome to the building. This first encounter is quick, but the initial intense spark of connection is immediately palpable between them. The next day, Jung-hwa is at the library for schoolwork when she sees her crush, Gyung-min, the guy who instantly caught her eye. Overwhelmed by sudden shyness, she tries to hide from him behind a shelf. The next time she tries to find him, she searches around but stumbles awkwardly. Before she can fall to the floor, Gyung-min catches her, steadying her in a moment of accidental physical contact. However, the sweet moment is instantly shattered. As they regain their balance, a girl suddenly rushes over and approaches Gyung-min. Jung-hwa watches as the girl embraces him, and in that crushing moment, she realizes that Gyung-min already has a girlfriend. Heartbroken and completely discouraged, Jung-hwa goes straight home. She spends time looking at pictures of Gyung-min, the beautiful man who is now unattainable. Eventually, she gets bored with her sadness. She stands up and turns her attention to the yellow paper she found earlier. She begins to recreate the image that was drawn on the paper, a strange, mask-like design, to use as the subject for her current school art project. While deeply absorbed in sketching the intricate, unsettling mask design, Jung-hwa accidentally cuts her finger on the sharp edge of her art tools. A bead of her own blood wells up and drips directly onto the yellow paper. She stands up instantly to clean her hand, but when she turns back, she stares in horror. The mask has swallowed the blood completely. The crimson stain has vanished without a trace, absorbed as if the mask was alive. This terrifying, unexplainable disappearance of her blood confirms one thing. The object is not just mask, it is a spiritual vessel, and she has just completed a chilling, unwitting pact. The next morning, Jung-hwa tries to focus on her routine and goes to school. As she pauses outside her classroom, she glances down at the yellow paper, examining the design again. While standing there, she feels a strange prickling sensation, the unsettling feeling that something unseen is intently watching her. She glances around but sees nothing. She dismisses the feeling and starts to move, but then there is blood falling onto her shirt from nowhere. She still doesn't notice it immediately, but the stain spreads, a mysterious warning. Carrying the unsettling feeling and the strange stain, Jung-hwa heads to the library. As she reaches for a specific book she needs, another girl's hand grabs it at the exact same time. An immediate, sharp argument breaks out between them over the book. It is during this heated moment that Jung-hwa notices the people around them are staring, not at the argument, but at her with strange, widened eyes. That's when she looks down and sees the stain of blood covering her shirt. Humiliated and terrified, she rushes to the bathroom to clean it off. While she is scrubbing frantically at the sink, the very girl she argued with appears silently right behind her. Without a word, the girl then performs a shocking action. She rips Jung-hwa's bloody t-shirt right down the seam, tearing it off her body. Just like that, the fight is over. The hostility vanishes, replaced by an odd, immediate bond forged in shock and shared oddity. The girl essentially forces a drastic, immediate change, and just like that, they become friends. This new, sudden relationship is deeply unsettling, suggesting that the curse is now actively maneuvering people into Jung-hwa's life. Jung-hwa returns home, still deeply disturbed, but with renewed focus on her school project. She returns to her desk to finish her mask-like design, sketching and furnishing the details onto the yellow paper. While she works, she feels a pervasive sense that something is looking at her strangely. When the mask design is finally complete, she stands it up on her desk. Looking at the finished piece, a cold dread washes over her. She feels like the design is actively staring at her. Shaken, she grabs a nearby cloth and quickly covers the mask. She goes to bed, but the darkness offers no comfort. She hears the familiar disturbance. The loud, persistent, midnight knock echoes from the apartment next door, Unit 908. To distract herself, she grabs her phone, puts on headphones, and tries to drown out the noise with music. As Jung-hwa finally drifts into a restless sleep, the camera focuses on her desk. Slowly, chillingly, the cloth covering the mask design slides off on its own, and the finished design is revealed, now staring directly toward her sleeping body. The curse is officially active. The next day, Jung-hwa is back at school, adding final touches to the mask design. She glances up, and this time, she sees him. Gyung-min, her crush. The paper's curse has begun to work on him. Gyung-min approaches her desk and begins to flirt openly and intensely. He leans in close and is just about to kiss her, the curse pushing its subjects toward immediate desperate passion. The girl Jung-hwa met in the library sees them, and this sudden intrusion breaks the hypnotic spell just long enough for Gyung-min to stop. He quickly turns and leaves the room. But as he walks out, Jung-hwa suddenly notices a strange, horrific sight. A pale-skinned woman with long black hair is sitting right on his shoulder. The woman, who is the ghost responsible for the midnight knock, is silently hitching a ride, claiming her subject. Following the terrifying incident at school, Jung-hwa goes home. As she steps into the elevator, the ghost woman walks in after her, with disheveled hair and dirt covering her body. Jung-hwa huddles nervously. The woman doesn't press any floor button. When the elevator reaches the 7th floor, the woman casually walks out. Jung-hwa follows, summoning her courage. The woman stops in front of Unit 908 and immediately begins to knock relentlessly on the door. Terrified, Jung-hwa rushes past the spectral figure, locks herself inside, and prepares to call the police, but the knocking outside suddenly stops. She cautiously opens the door. The woman is gone. She wonders if she truly just faced a ghost. The very next night, Jung-hwa bumps into the woman again near her apartment. This time, the woman is not knocking. She is banging on the door with frantic, desperate intensity. Jung-hwa freezes, but just like before, the banging abruptly stops, and the woman completely vanishes. Jung-hwa returns home, but her safety is shattered as she notices someone's shadow passing quickly by her window. The following day, she notices her neighbor, Do-hyuk, has brought a large, heavy safe into his apartment. When she gets back home that evening, there is no sign of the terrifying woman or the banging. Instead, a mysterious letter drops onto the floor as she opens her door. This letter holds the next piece of the puzzle, and Jung-hwa knows she has no choice but to read it. The curse demands its sacrifice. Someone close to Jung-hwa, the overly obsessive Gyung-min, whose attraction was forced by the paper, or perhaps someone who tried to warn her, is brutally murdered. Jung-hwa finds help in the form of Sung-joo, a woman with innate psychic abilities or deep shamanic knowledge, who can see and communicate with the spirits tormenting Jung-hwa. Sung-joo immediately recognizes the age and malevolence of the paper and confirms the terrible truth that Jung-hwa had only guessed. The paper is not just a cursed object. It is the central nexus of a generational blood feud. The narrative shifts to the inevitable confrontation. Jung-hwa is lured, cornered, or violently forced into Do-hyuk's apartment. The scene is heavy with dread and sick expectation. This is where the cycle of the curse will be completed. and where the line between psychological possession and physical violence will vanish entirely. The fight is no longer about escape, it's about control over her own body and soul. The horror reaches its peak in the apartment. Jung-hwa wakes up trapped and physically bound. Her neighbor, Do-hyuk, stands over her, his face grim. He is clearly under extreme duress or completely possessed by the curse. He is performing a dark ritual to finalize the spiritual binding, using the mask as his primary tool. As Do-hyuk is deep in the unsettling process of the ritual, he is momentarily distracted by an outside noise or interruption. In that tiny window of opportunity, Jung-hwa manages to regain her wits. She realizes her situation and struggles free, grabbing a nearby knife to defend herself and threaten him. Do-hyuk, whether driven by the curse's ultimate desire for tragedy or a desperate, twisted act of self-sacrifice to protect her, makes a final, shocking move. He grabs the hand Jung-hwa is holding the knife with and with devastating force drives the knife into his own body, killing himself immediately. The curse has claimed its victim, but not in the way it initially intended. The sudden, violent death breaks the ritual and momentarily shatters the dark influence. The next morning, the police arrive at the apartment. We see the gruesome aftermath as they remove the body of Do-hyuk. Jung-hwa is questioned but is not arrested, as the evidence clearly shows she acted in self-defense, or at least that Do-hyuk took his own life during a struggle. The immediate threat is over, but the psychological toll is immense. In the weeks that follow, Sung-joo, the psychic friend, bravely continues to help Jung-hwa, trying to cleanse her spirit and ensure the curse is truly gone. But the spiritual residue is potent. During one session, Sung-joo is overwhelmed and becomes possessed by the residual ghost that was once attached to the paper. The experience is terrifying, but precisely as the clock strikes 12 o'clock, midnight, the spirit is forced out, and Sung-joo becomes normal again. They believe they have won. They return to their usual lives, thinking the ghost's power is contained or exhausted. The movie concludes with a devastating final twist. Jung-hwa is at home, preparing a cup of tea, trying to find comfort in a mundane routine. The door opens, and Sung-joo, now completely possessed again, visits her. Jung-hwa doesn't immediately notice the change in her friend, but as she turns toward the wall, she sees it. A shadow on the wall, distinct, long and pale. The shadow of the ghostly woman. With a final, crushing realization, Jung-hwa understands that the curse was never truly banished. The ghost simply needed a new, closer vessel.